Peace!
The first 2 weeks of Trump's presidency has been anything but peaceful. All power to the people. And so I'm going to talk about one of the most recent demonstrations, although also just quick shout out to Berkeley Antifa for shutting down a Nazi speaker yesterday. And I don't have any updates, but I know that there is also a similar effort happening today in New York City, so I'm excited to see how that goes. NYU. So yeah, obviously you saw the video, and I'm going to go into a little bit of details about just the logistics of the ban and why the protests happened, and then I'll take you through the JFK experience, and also just some stuff that we have gathered from some of our comrades in other cities. So Trump passes this executive order that bans for 90 days immigration from 6 countries, all Muslim majority, hence the hashtag Muslim ban. It's not a travel ban, even though the mainstream media is now calling it a travel ban. That's Iran, Iraq, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and Yemen. That's for 90 days, and for Syria, I believe it's an indefinite ban. And these are all countries that we are currently engaged with, that we are bombing or intervening in one way or another. And a call had gone out, I believe it was Saturday morning, maybe it had come out shortly before, but this was enacted immediately, and that folks who had flown over, whether they had a green card or a visa, were being detained within the airports. There were people who were flying over in mid-flight who would also be detained, and so the numbers were high and they weren't letting people go, and so a lot of people started coming out. There was a lot of calls from different organizations, and this happened nationally. In Fred's article, which I encourage you all to read, he had some statistics that it was over 100 demos in 42 states. These are in major cities, but also smaller town airports as well, which is great. Atlanta, Baltimore, Seattle, Detroit, New York, Boston, Chicago, Philadelphia, Portland, Denver, Los Angeles, San Francisco. It's really, really great to see so much energy and so many people coming out. And this also shows that there's been, a change of sorts. There's more solidarity with Muslims in their fight against Islamophobia. There's much more widespread support, and we know that Islamophobia has been a main tool of the ruling class to divide and conquer the international working class. So it's really good that this has become so much of a popular struggle among all sorts of groups. So as I mentioned, the original ban was green cards and visas. These are people who have spent years going through all kinds of hurdles in order to get this kind of approval to come to this country, and then for them to be turned around. And they were being turned around. A lot of them were coerced into signing waivers that would send them back to the countries that they had come for, and just throwing years of hard work and stress out the window. It's a shame. And there are hundreds of thousands of people who have lived in the U.S. for a very long time who happen to be out in these other countries and then were just turned away. And it cuts across the population. Even military contractors were being turned away. So it's a very abrasive strategy on their part, and people picked up on that, and it generated this kind of passionate response on behalf of the people. So I'm going to talk about how JFK went. If you ever used JFK, I actually had never been there. I usually use LaGuardia, but when you get there off of the A train, you have to go through another turnstile in order to get on the air train that takes you around this huge loop and drops you off at one of the terminals. And everyone was meeting at Terminal 4, the international terminal, where the people were being detained. As we were showing up, there's about 14 of us who had left after Saturday's event, which was amazing, by the way. And we had just bought our tickets, and someone leaned over the turnstile from the other side and told us that they were trying to stop people from getting in, which is illegal. People, they were saying that you need to have your ticket, you need to have your plane ticket in order to get by, which doesn't make any sense because people go to meet their families at the airport all of the time. People buy their tickets or pick up their tickets there. So it's clear that this is just some illegal act by the NYPD to prevent protesters from getting through. There were already, probably by the time that we were going over there, somewhere around 5,000. We were there. There were huge lines trying to buy these tickets, and there were maybe 10 cops there. 3 of them actively intervened by standing in front of the turnstiles, trying to physically prevent people from getting through. Maybe half of our group had gotten through, and through people power, we got them to stop their shit, you know. And you heard Faikwan, you know, what charge? What charge? And they didn't have a charge. They tried to stop someone and detain them. What for? What for? And by whipping up all of these people who were far greater in number, we eventually were able to push back and get them through. Unfortunately, we found out shortly after through social media that they were up to their old tricks and trying to stop people again. So we tried to circulate the message that, you know, if you just get riled up enough and show them that you know that what they're doing is illegal, you'll be able to push through. And so we were able to help facilitate hundreds of more activists getting out. And when we were out in JFK, we were outside of the terminal. There's a heavy police presence within the terminal, and we were out on the sidewalks, but eventually we took the streets, which was great. Shortly after the riot cops showed up and started disrupting. And I think people just didn't know how much power they have as a group. And I think a lot of folks were out there for the first time maybe, and so some of us are talking about figuring out a way and how we can help people know the power that they have when there's 5,000 people outside the airport, you know? Like, you can't let, you know, 5 riot cops push you around, you know? But, you know, people were singing "This Land Is Our Land" and getting a little nervous and getting on the sidewalk, and so I think we learned a lot about how we're going to be organizing with this mass of people who are just getting into the struggle for the first time, and so that's going to be a big thing for us to think about and work through in the coming days. I know that in places like Philadelphia and Detroit, they actually got into the terminal. They were a little bit more disruptive. I know some of our comrades in Detroit were actually holding down the luggage pickup. They were standing on the, whatever that, yeah, exactly, and preventing people from getting their luggage. But it also revealed that when you try and escalate to that point, some of the less militant folks are going to start siding with the police to kick you out of there, and that's the problem that they had in Detroit, was that there was actually a permit. They had a permit to be in the terminal or around the terminal that ended at 6, and that's when I heard some people saying, like, when the people were occupying the cargo area that, or the luggage pickup, that this is not America. So there's a lot of confusion about what we should be doing, you know, and I think it's our role to help them see what really can be done with people power. It came through, though, temporarily. A federal judge in Brooklyn and judges across the country had ordered a temporary stay for the people who had been detained, which is great. There's a lot more work to be done. In Boston, I believe, they were able to go so far as to releasing them. I'm sorry, I should say deportation. There are still people who are being detained, but they're no longer being coerced into signing waivers that will deport them back to their where they had come from. But in Boston, a lot of the folks had been released, and I think that's true for some other places as well. So different cities in different parts of the struggle, and so there's a lot of work ahead, a lot of legal struggles ahead, and a lot more need for people to be out in the streets showing them that we still care. And so on Sunday, there was a follow-up. About 200 people, I heard was the number, showed up outside of JFK to support all of the volunteer lawyers who had come. About 200 people showed up, showed support for all the volunteer lawyers who were coming down to help work with the people who had been detained, which, by the way, sorry, this is a little out of order. The people who had been detained didn't even know that there was a struggle going on outside. They had no contact. And some of them, when they stepped outside and saw the support, were just incredibly moved. And it's so sad that they didn't know that, because we want them to know that. And we don't, someone almost committed suicide. You know, like it's a life and death situation. It's really, really horrible. And so it's good that we're there. But yeah, the police are doing everything they can to cut off these people being detained. Also, when the order for the stay had been issued, Customs and Border Patrol had continued imposing the Muslim ban as if they hadn't heard that these federal judges had passed this ruling. So it is interesting to see how they're behaving right now. You know, it shows you that the laws and the policies and the orders, they don't matter, because it comes down to them being enforced, and the people enforcing them are these fascist foot soldiers, you know. And so we have a long struggle ahead, because even with these legal battles going on, which we support, obviously, more work needs to be done outside of that as well. And if you hadn't heard, the slogan, which was great, was that day, no ban, no registry, fuck white supremacy. And I think that's where I'll end it.